Welcome back to Great Day Washington. I think every parent secretly dreads the day that their child loses that cute little baby voice. But if that baby voice doesn't go away, when do you know that there's actually a problem?
Here to help us out with early detection and intervention is licensed and certified speech-language pathologist Marshall McClelland. Good to have you.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me today.
All right, let's talk about the early intervention model. What is that?
Yes, so the whole point of early intervention is for speech therapists to get in and have access to working with a student as early as possible. For humans, communication is integral to everyday part of our life at every developmental stage, starting from birth. And we know from research that the first few years of life, especially the first 6, we have the most growth and the most rapid growth because of neuroplasticity. That neuroplasticity is the brain's ability to grow from experiences, to learn and absorb new information. So as our little ones are learning and growing at home and in their daycare centers, we know that they're developing that foundational everyday and social communication skills. And so for me as a therapist, when I have the ability to work with that population, 1 to 2, 2 to 6, I feel the most energized because we can really get in there and cultivate what the brain's capable of and maximize the gains made within that time frame.
So funny you say 1 to 2.
I know.
It sounds so early, but why is it really good to get in there early? The second you think, okay, maybe there's a problem here.
Yes, it's such a great one. And not everyone, I should say, needs 1 to 2, but it's again just having that awareness for that space. And the whole reason for that is as the complexities of social interactions and the scholastic workloads are increasing, we want our children to feel more confident and able to rise to meet those challenges. And we're finding that students that are getting to elementary school and middle and even beyond, and where they have weak or poor foundation in their communication skills, just seeing this trickle down impact kind of across all social and academic kind of settings and environments. So again, that key detection for early, getting at it early, can really shape where we're headed in those few years after.
Yeah.
You may know what the early signs are. What are some of the early signs parents should be looking for?
Oh, well, I could go down the
list.
line. Yeah, go down the list. Age very specific.
Okay.
And this one I would say is having a broader scope of understanding what speech therapy is about. So I work with a lot of families where the first thing they say to me is, my kid doesn't stutter, he doesn't have a lisp. And I would say we absolutely work with students who have lisps and stutters, and that's a huge area for us. About 3 million Americans, or 1%, are actually diagnosed with a stutter. So please seek out your speech therapist. That being said, the scope of our practice is so much more substantial than that. And in fact, about 1 in 12, which is about 7.7% of American children who are 3 to 17, will be diagnosed with something that falls into the scope of a speech language therapist. So expanding our brain there, what that could mean: articulation, cognition, especially when you have attention deficits, emotional regulation, or issues with executive functioning. We also have feeding, swallowing, fluency, hearing, language, your receptive and expressive language, as well as your verbal and nonverbal language cues. And then literacy, as well as, again, the big one, social pragmatic. We're really dealing a lot with your everyday development of social skills, everything from understanding an individual mindset, and then how to adapt that to group play, group learning dynamics.
It's like all connected. We had a therapist on last week who was teaching us like introducing solid foods to your baby is going to impact speech and development down the road. I'm like, oh my gosh.
I'm working with daycares right now to change the cup that they just recommend out in their toddler classroom.
What do we need?
I'm all
10
about
seconds.
the recessed lid there, where you're just setting up again for bilabial lip closure, a more natural and adult swallowing pattern. So get away from spout cups and things that are the 360s, things that just promote an natural, atypical swallowing pattern. So again, there's a lot of ways we can look at.
So much, Marshall.
So much.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you
Thank
so
you
much.
very much.
You can find out more about speech pathology and early intervention at Speech for Each on Facebook.